Hey y'all, please bear with me here. I'm not sure if you can tell or not, but I'm extremely nervous and terrified of talking on video. But I felt like this was important, and so I wanted to talk to y'all. My name's Ruth. I'm a mom to two biological children. One's an adult, one's almost an adult, and I think of myself as a mom to two adopted by love children that are also adult, but I think of them as my own. This is a little tricky for me. I'll do the best I can. I was married to the love of my life for 25 years. I've been navigating widowhood for the last year and 3 months, and it's been a roller coaster, of course. In that time period, I have learned some things that worked for me and some things that didn't. I will preface this with, this channel may not be for everyone. A lot of the ways this started was because during my process, I felt very isolated and alone. I had people who loved me. I had people who loved my husband very much, and they were grieving him as well. But I had very little resources to talk to about what I was going through, the exact thing I was going through, the loss of a spouse, the loss of a partner. But in the process of that, I became very isolated. I felt lonely. I felt lost. I felt like I was the only one, even though I knew it wasn't true, but I couldn't talk to anyone. I had lots of a support system. They wanted to hear me. They wanted to talk to me. They were willing, but it was a different grief. They had the grief of a son, a brother, and I appreciate all those griefs, and I wanted to be there for them for theirs. But it's different when the other half of you's gone. You're trying to build a world where you're alone. You're a single, even though you never wanted to be. And that was something that was very isolating for me. I had someone in the family who I could talk to, but he was grieving his nephew. He was deeply grieving his nephew. And he was also trying to help me get through all the financial things and all the, I guess I call them the afterlife necessities that you have to do. Anything paperwork-wise that's just not something you want to do, you've ever considered doing, but it's necessary. And emotionally, I could not combine the two things. It either had to be the necessaries and focus on those because they were hard enough to do anyway, or let myself break down, and I didn't have that. But I felt extremely isolated, and that was not something that I could talk to them about. I couldn't bring myself to talk to them about. I could not open up that way. I just felt like it was something I had to keep to myself because no one would understand, even though they wanted to understand. Just deep down, it felt like this one thing that I was the only one who could do. And I didn't want to burden anyone else with it. And so while that was happening, it became very hard for me to talk to people. I felt like I didn't want to talk on the phone. I didn't want to talk. I didn't even want to text. And for a long time, I didn't. It was several months before I even talked to my mom. We texted regularly. Off and on, she would text me and I would answer. But I couldn't talk on the phone. And that, I believe, is normal. For me, it definitely was. So then, after a long conversation with some family members, my husband's family members, they were concerned there might be some genetic situation happening with some of the medical issues my husband had. And so they asked if they could talk to me, and I said, of course. If there was any way I could help his family, I would always help. And I knew that's what he would want, and that's what I would want as well. So we had a long conversation, and during that conversation, of course, it was very stressful because it was a lot that had gone on before he passed. And at the end of the conversation, his cousin said to me, she said, do you have anybody you can talk to that's been there? And normally I would do, oh, I'm fine, don't worry about me, I'm okay. That was not a day I had the I'm fine, I'm okay. It was the, no, honestly, I don't. I did have, like I said, his uncle had lost a spouse years ago. And he was willing to talk to me. He reached out to me several times, but I couldn't combine the two conversations, and I was not there. I had to finish what had to be done first. And that isolation really impacted me a lot. And her talking to me, she said, do you have anyone? And I said, no, not really. And I am so grateful the people that I love haven't gone through this. It's a horrible thing, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, let alone the people I love. But it did add to it. But she asked me, and she said, I have a friend, and she said she lost her spouse about 3 years ago, and she also helps run grief support groups. Would you want to talk to her? And I said, well, if she'd be okay talking with me, yes, I would be willing to talk to her. And so I gave her my number and said, you can give her my number, and if she feels comfortable, she can call me. She called me, and it was a turning point for me. When she called and she offered a perfect stranger, a complete stranger, her story, her grief story, the loss of her spouse, how she had coped, what she found to be normal, what she had found to not be normal, it actually allowed me to see that I was not alone. And from there, I've actually watched a lot of YouTubers, and that really opened up a lot for me, and I felt so much less alone. And if there's any way that I can help someone else in the same way that they helped me, that's what I want. I know how isolating and frightening, and you're already brokenhearted anyway, but then you feel so alone, you feel lost, and I would want to help anybody I could. After having felt that myself, if there's any chance I can help someone else, I'd be willing to. So this channel came from a few different things. The friend of my husband's cousin. Before that, I just felt like nobody understood. Some people say you lost the other half of you. It felt more than that. It felt like I had lost, I say 3/4 of myself, because I lost so many parts of myself along with losing him. Because our lives everything was built together, and we had built it together for 25 years. And we didn't know that it was coming as quickly as it did. And so all those things just felt completely isolating, because how could other people understand that? They can hear it, they can listen, they'd be more than willing to. But how could they fully understand it? Because I couldn't understand it for anyone else. Until it happened to me, I could not understand it for anyone else. So I couldn't expect anyone else to understand it for me. And so after a while, I watched other YouTubers who talked about their grief, who talked about what they had gone through. They openly discussed how heart-wrenching this is. They openly discussed, they cried, they talked about it. And after talking to my husband's cousin's friend, a friend of a friend, so to speak, I could hear the honesty in their talk. I knew they were being honest. It wasn't that. It's just I could actually feel and hear what they were saying. So it felt like more of a people who did understand. And so after a while, I watched a lot of those YouTubers, and I felt like God pressed on my heart that it was almost like he was like, you should do YouTube. And I was like, me? YouTube? Are you crazy? Never in a million years did I think I'd do YouTube. And it's nothing against YouTube. I just am not a in front of a camera person. But I felt like I was led to do this for other people like me who needed it. And if this is you, you're welcome. If you're not, if this isn't for you, that's fine. That is perfectly fine. You're still welcome. But if you find this isn't the right place for you, then I hope you find somewhere that is. I hope you find somewhere you feel supported and loved, and honestly get that support you need, whatever it is. And if you don't feel like that's here, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I want you to have it wherever you can find it. That'd be amazing. At the same time, for a long time, I put it off. I was like, that's not really me. But then I felt like almost God led me, maybe a blog. Again, I kind of put it off. I started sending myself emails of what I was thinking of today, what kind of had sent some clarity in my mind that day, what I was feeling, whatever. And as I started writing them, I started noticing they were written more for everyone, not just for me anymore. It started out, the first ones kind of me talking about it myself. And the later ones were more about, if you're reading this, and this may help you, this is what I was thinking today. And so as I went, it actually helped to begin a healing in me. I'm still broken. I don't know that I'll ever not be. I miss my husband extremely. I love him so much, and I miss him every day. But I also know I have to build a life for my kids, for me, for the ones that are still here, and love them and actually have a life. My husband wanted that. He even told me so himself. Before he passed, he said, babe, I want you to be happy. I want you to have a life. Please live for yourself. Do it for yourself. And I've only gotten to the point now that I can actually start trying to do that for myself. And if I can help someone else encourage them to try to live for themselves and still love their husband, that doesn't mean you stop loving him. I love mine very much. Every moment of every day I think of him. He is part of me. But I also know that it's time for me to start building my life for myself as well. And so if I can help someone else, I want to be that for someone. I'd be more than happy to be what that wonderful woman was for me. Perfect stranger that was willing to help another stranger. I would want to do that for someone else. And I felt led that this is what I was supposed to do. God has always been a part of my life, especially through this. He has really kept me going. I wouldn't have the strength I've had through any of it. There's been many a times I've had to say, God, I need your help. I can't do it. I can't do it. And I would feel a peace come over me and be able to do it. And until then, it was not there. I felt like I was going to crash at any moment. And he got me through. So there's a lot of talking about God, I'm sure, because I am very honest about that. But in the process of this, if it hadn't been for him, it wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't be where I am even. But anytime, I want this channel to be a channel that you can send me questions. You can tell me stories about your loved ones. You can say, hey, have you been through this? You can tell me what you're going through. I want this to be a community. If it's meant to be, it will be. And if it's not, then that's okay too. But I believe God does intend this to be a community for people who need each other. We can just talk. We can message anything. So welcome to my channel. I know I'm a little chaotic. I can't help that. That's just who I am. But I'll do the best I can not to be a little loony. I'll try to keep it as calm as possible. You're welcome here. You're invited. I would love to have conversations with you. I would love to talk to you. And if you just want to tell me your story, tell me about your loved one, tell me about what you want to do, what you would like to do for yourself, I would love to hear it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer the best I can. I'm still new to this as well, but I'm here. And I would love to be a connection if you need it. God bless you all. Welcome. And anytime, reach out to me. I'd be happy to message you back. Bye. Have a great day.